Christopher KASSULKE. He and I have known each other for a long time. I told you that I go back to 2002 in mobile games. Well, by that time, Chris had already been doing this for 3 or 4 years, so he's back in the embedded days, feature phone days. He's got a long history in this business and has some interesting things to tell us about the future of advertising on this platform. Welcome, Christopher KASSULKE.
Hi, my name is Christopher KASSULKE. As he already mentioned, I'm doing that for quite a while. I'm still at the same company because I'm the CEO and co-founder of Handy Games. We founded the games long time ago when not even Java or mobile internet was out. We switched completely to the free model in 2010 when operators were not important anymore, so including advertisement. So we checked out what really possible on mobile phone, what is advertisement, is this a business model or not. We see a lot of nice articles nowadays. I think every day we will see new nice headlines, and those are only 4 of them. And what we see is really like apps are free. We see that advertisement works perfectly on mobile phones. We see that the usage on mobile phones or even the spending on mobile phones are going up. And I think the next slide is the best one. That's why we are doing advertisement on mobile phones. That's exactly the gap on the right side. That's the time spent on a mobile phone and the marketing spending on it. So as you can see, we have a long way to go to get to the spending, to get up as the mobile usage is. Mobile phones are, for us, the key. So all the money that is currently going out of print and partly radio here, we see even going down figures on the TV side in other markets. That's only for the US. Those charts are normally available on the net. And for us, the opportunity is there. So we see growing revenues and figures there on the mobile side for quite a while already. And this chart is updated every year, so it's awesome. It's just going up and up and up, and that's mobile. That's why we believe the whole platform mobile or mobile games are really the future for the advertisement space. What I'm talking about is not only on the right side, the small banners. That's like the bread and butter business for us. We're also talking about really TV advertisement within or on the mobile platform. We see it down there like a chart boost ad, and we see over there, I think that's sponsor pay. So really like offer walls and stuff like that. That's all advertisement. We see rewarded actions or moments. So if you're successfully within a game, and for example, you hit down the big boss in the level and you get a reward for that. That's awesome things. We also see radio advertisement within a mobile game. So really, it's way behind or the normal advertisement that you see in the old banners. I had to put that in because of my kids. You will see a lot of game tie-ins coming out in the mobile game space. Not all need to be done with advertisement, but we also saw a lot of branded games. I'm not talking about those games. So those games are really something that's unique. But we always say to the advertisers, that's not what you're focusing on. You do advertisement in successful titles. Don't produce your own titles. Because, come on, Dust Fighter from Bosch, for example, that's an endless runner, but with Bosch tools. I doubt that this will be really something that Bosch brings further. We are talking about a lot of different companies, and that's only some of them. So I miss out, I think, half of the guys out there that have a booth out there. So most of them are in the mobile advertisement space. And we do, I think, close to all, we do business with them. And that means we really work hard integrating a lot of new tools, SDKs within our games and produce games that are for advertisers interesting out there. What you need to make advertisement within games successful are, of course, a great gameplay. That's exactly the same thing like with the in-app purchases and other stuff on the free-to-play market. If you have no user retention within a game, it doesn't make sense also to implement advertisement. I always hear, yeah, if you implement advertisement, you have a bad game. I can tell you that will not work. So you really need to have a great game. What we found out is really, if you have not a game with a 4+ star rating on iOS or Android, forget about advertisement. It will not work. Advertisers don't want to show high quality ads within those titles. They really want to see a 4.7 in the games. That's what they want to see. And as you can already see, we have different kind of games out there. And what we also have are high replay valued games. That's important. For some specific advertisement forms, especially on the offer walls, for example, we need to have specific gameplays in our games. That means normally also virtual currencies, like for example on the Frozen Front title, we have gold in there. We have happy stars in a Clouds and Sheep, or prestige points and gold down in Townsmen, or the stabs in a Save the Puppies. So you really need to have consumables. Otherwise, advertisement will not work. We implemented the ads really in the game flow. So we invented a lot of stuff in the advertisement space because we know exactly not everyone likes how ads are implemented in games. So you really need to watch out what you really want to do. So for example, on the right side, we have up there the standard banner. So that's up here. The funny thing is, you have up there a cross. So you can switch off the advertisement if you don't want to see it. Plus, we have, for example, a button coming in 10 seconds before a TV advertisement is showing up. That says you will see an advertisement in 10, 9, 8. So you have a counter that is going to 0. If you don't want to see the TV advertisement, you can skip it, but then you do an in-app purchase indirectly over virtual currencies. We implemented, for example, on Frozen Front, that's where Modern War is in there, for example. We implemented the full screen advertisement after each turn that you're doing in a round-based strategy title. What we do is we don't have a one-hit wonder. We are very happy that we have a lot of different games out there, and it's very important when you're dealing with advertisers. So you can target on different target groups. You can go in there, going to females, male audience. So it's really important for the advertisers. And for us, it's important to do really good cross-promotion. So in front of every game, we are cross-promoting all our games on the first page. Very important for us to drive traffic. This drives us around 20% of new installs. Why we do that is quite simple. We had the paid market versus free market, and it's still the same thing. We are talking about reach. The right side, that's what we want to have. We are always where our consumers are, no matter if it's iOS, Android, Windows Phone 8, whatever. When there's consumers, we are there. The paid market didn't really change, so check out the two settlers. That's the big whales if you want to do that. They have the money. But at the end of the day, we're talking about monetizing all the others, all the free guys. That's our business. If you want to do money in mobile and with ads, that means that you need to think in ad units. It's not about the game alone. It's also where you place the advertisement. It's about mediating, for example, all the different partners that I mentioned before. Like, okay, who do I really need to implement within my games? What really makes sense? Who can target which advertising sectors? Very important is, for example, when do I show TV advertisement? Because when my game only, we heard that today already, the normal session is around 3 minutes. I can tell you in Frozen Front, it's 16 to 17 minutes, the average playing time. That means if you only show an advertisement after 30 minutes, it doesn't work. So you really need to play around, like when do I show a TV ad, when do I show, for example, new banners every 10 seconds, every 60 seconds, stuff like that. We heard a lot about how analytics goes on the game side, and you need to do exactly the same thing on the advertisement side. So just implementing one of the partners there just for a banner ad will not work. Because that's the experience a lot of game developers had in the past. It was like, yeah, I implemented, for example, a Google, a Millennial, whatever, and we didn't make enough revenues. That's easy, because you need to integrate a lot of guys in there. You need to check out the reporting, where they are really targeting. Are they around the globe, or are they only focusing in the US? So it's the same thing like on the games. You need to analyze your advertising partners. You need to control them, do optimization all the time, and think again in the ad units. What we are heading to in the moment is really like, we talk about standardization. We talked about the print magazines, for example, whole money coming from there. We're talking about the radio advertisement, for example. They want to ship their revenues down into mobile games as well. The same thing on TV, but they have standards. Mobile game advertisement don't have real standards. So if you're going to every single advertisers out there, that means you have different kind of sizes for every banner. That's madness. So we are working towards a standardization of all the different platforms. Even when you, for example, think about online advertisement, we are talking about real-time bidding and stuff like that. And that's coming completely to the mobile space as well. So not only what we saw till now. That's the future. That's nice. Now you're saying, for sure, I'm talking a lot, but that's a revenue split from our game. That's Clouds and Sheep. And I had that figure, I think, beginning of that year. And the in-app purchases were way higher. It was, I think, 60 for in-app purchases, 40 for advertisement. And nowadays, it's already switching down to the majority comes already out of advertisement. And we see that for every single game. So it's not without advertisement, you make more in-app purchases. I can say that's not working. So you're just losing out over 50% if you're not implementing advertisement and monetize the other 80, 90% of the users that don't go through the funnel. So we really make revenues out of every of our consumers, and that's important. That's what you need. So we are ready for ads. I hope you too. And now I'm open for questions.
I have a first question.
Do you find using both in-app purchases and advertisement in the same game, do you find users get annoyed by that, or are they fine?
No, not at all. So what we found out is really like, if you implement advertisement wisely, they first check out your game completely for free, and they monetize later on very easily. So for them is, for example, we have that in every of our game that you even can switch off advertisement. So instead of having a premium version as before and a freemium version, we have that. You can try that out, and if you like it, and as we say it always, it's about happy consumers will pay you money at the end of the day, and they do it. And they spend a lot of money. And till they spend money, they will watch advertisement and bring money to you as well. That's quite simple. So, and we tried out also games without advertisement and only with in-app purchases, and we just did less revenues.
I want to ask you two questions. One is, can you name 3 compelling mobile ads that you saw this year that really stuck with you? Mobile ads, just specifically video. That's the first one.
Okay, no issue. So the first one I can answer already. So yes, we see a lot of consumer brands coming in. So for example, I saw from Air Malta, from Czech Republic, from tourist guys, from automotive stuff. We saw a lot of car manufacturers moving in as well. So it's not only about game developers doing advertisement in games. So that was around 2 years ago, because then we only saw that all our competitors are doing advertisement within our games. And nowadays we are really moving to consumer brands coming in.
I think consumer brands do it really well because they understand positioning and marketing, but the point that I was trying to get at, when I asked this question, 99.9% of the people say, no, there's no commercial that I've seen on my mobile device that was really impactful, but they can name 10 TV commercial spots. Do you think that's because of now that the industry has matured a little bit, people are going to be now focusing on building really quality content ads that people care about, that would actually bring more beneficial experiences to the advertising space?
I think it depends on which advertisement they saw. So if they only saw a banner, of course that's exactly the same like on the internet. So
for sure, but for video.
But as soon as you go to video, we see very good click-through rates and stuff like that. So I cannot really complain about that at all. So this advertisement really works. And the good thing is you're in a target group that doesn't read, for example, a newspaper anymore, that you cannot reach for a specific audience. That's the only thing to reach, for example, youngsters. We see advertisement, for example, in Germany for traineeships, because they don't get training guys anymore into, for example, a bank. That's very simple. So it's changing the whole thing. It's not like we are talking about game developers only advertising here. Second question?
That was it. Thanks.
Okay, sorry.
Hi, it's a bit of a big picture question. Given the billions of dollars that the big brands spend today on television and online, the amount that's flowing into mobile is actually very, very small today. And there's a certain reluctance of these big brands to channel some of their money into mobile. And the point that you mentioned earlier, that the lack of advertising standards for mobile is probably not helping things either. So looking ahead, what kind of time frame do you see some of these standards related issues getting resolved, perhaps as the first step towards enticing some of these brands to start spending on mobile?
So I think indirectly there's two questions. So first one is, I know that it will change end of the year. So then we are ready for most of the standardization out there. So it's easy for them. Instead of, they can use exactly the same advertisement that they use, for example, on the broadcaster. So they really use the same spot, bring it to the TV, what they bring to the mobile. That's very simple. Same thing on the online side, we are talking already about real-time bidding. So that's coming already. So I doubt that this will take ages. So we see that end of the year coming out there because we are working with all those guys there, so we know what's coming up. And we currently build that in within all our titles. And what was the other question?
That was kind of it. So
okay.
Kind of answered both. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So I've asked a few of the larger game developers like King, Kabam, these kind of guys, how big is ad revenue for their business, and they've said that it's like less than 1% compared to in-app purchase, and they actually say that it's an opportunity cost, that if they focus time on ad revenue, it just doesn't, the economics don't make sense because the ROI on in-app purchase is so much greater. They'd rather just 100% focus on that. Is it a difference in the nature of the game that they are saying for that is causing them to say that, or I'm trying to understand what the fundamental difference is in their attitude?
It's quite simple. What we do is real normal fishing. What they do is whale hunting. That's it.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
They do whale hunting. We do real fishing. So it means we try to get out 100%, and they just want to hit the one whales out there. And that's a big difference. Of course, there are game developers that are making a lot of money just out of in-app purchases. But what we are focusing on is really like monetizing 100%. And I think comparing every single game developer out there is it's not really working. So if you're asking Rovio, they will tell you again another story. So if you're asking Kabam, as you said, for example, they are more or less afraid about advertisement because they don't want to lose anyone within the funnel. So that's our point of view out there. We are doing quite fine there as well.
Are there any specific ad formats that you have seen to work better than others? For
I don't
example,
hear you, sorry.
any specific ad formats that seem to work better than others?
TV.
Banners, interstitials, incentivized video.
So what we see really is like TV advertisement that are coming in nowadays that are awesome. So we have click-through rates that are very impressive. So 20-30% click-through rate because they really like what they see. That depends also on the targeting, because if I'm doing, for example, in Clouds and Sheep, something for females, like a shoe advertisement, that's working, because we know exactly who is playing the game. That's why you need to have a big, different portfolio of titles out there. What we also see is still the banner ads, for example, we still have, depending on the game, and if it fits, up to 3%, and that's amazing compared to the online banners that you see, for example, on a Yahoo or whatever. So that's really different. So you need to know the customer who's playing the game, and then you can get good revenues. That's what I mentioned before. You need to think and optimize your own ad units all the time. Without that, you're not making revenues.
Anyone? Any more questions?
So I have a question for you. I'm sure some of the developers in the audience that have games that have a certain number of users are wondering what type of traffic or installs or daily active users do you really need to get to before it makes sense to do what you're proposing?
Depending on the game. So it always depends on the playing time. So if you have a casual title where you only have 3 minutes active user in there, it doesn't make really sense to implement advertisement, because you cannot do a TV advertisement in the first minute or something like that. So for example, we always say we require around 1 million downloads, then it's working, the business model. Everything without, under 1 million downloads, it doesn't work at all. So you really need that. As soon as you have user retention in there, as long as you have a long playing time, you can work already with 500,000 downloads and make a good profitable game out there. So it really depends on the game. You need to know how long the game is played, who's playing it. So if you can really say, this is the specific audience, that's a target that you can go there, then you make a lot of money. If you just say that's a casual game and I don't know who's playing the game, that's not that good.
Any more questions? Great, let's give Chris a round of applause.